monks bent over vellum, ink-stained hands, sore eyes, counting cases, copying endings, asking how does grammar rise. Scribes in dim libraries, arguing over one small verb. From Sanskrit sand to Latin classrooms, chasing patterns in each word. We ask, we argue, we annotate. From campfire tales to code we create. The history of linguists is a long, strange list of people hearing more in what we say than just today. Coffee rings on typed out theses, Paris flats thick with smoke. Sign and sense the sound and meaning, every margin full of notes. Maps of dialects on the blackboard, arrows crossing every line. Language lives inside a system, not just in your favorite rhyme. We ask, we argue, we annotate. From campfire tales to code we create. The history of linguists is a long, strange list of people hearing more in what we say than just today. Chalk dust storms in lecture theaters, trees and rules across the board. Move this phrase, delete that pronoun, whole new worlds from every word. Folks in labs with tongue-tied gadgets, measuring a vowel's bend, finding order in the chaos, letter by letter, trend by trend. We ask, we argue, we annotate. From campfire tales to code we create. The history of linguists is a long, strange list of people hearing more in what we say than just today. Now it's screens and scrolling data sets, patterns hiding in the noise. Parsing posts and spoken fragments, old obsessions, modern toys. Still that question under all of it, from the cradle to the chat. How does thought become a sentence? We're still trying to answer that. We ask, we argue, we annotate. From campfire tales to code we create. The history of linguists is a long, strange list of people hearing more in what we say than just today.
Introduction, a timeline of linguistic evolution. Language is humanity's most intricate invention, an evolving symphony of sounds, symbols, and structures that has shaped cognition, culture, and civilization. This timeline traces the epic journey of linguistic development, from the primal gestures of Homo erectus to the algorithmic codes of artificial intelligence. We begin with the dawn of proto-language, grunts and gestures intertwined with tool-making and ritual, as early hominins forged the first fragile bridges between sound and meaning. From there, we witness the rise of phonetics and phonology, as Neanderthal song, Homo sapiens vocal tract adaptations, and Magdalenian bone flutes laid the foundations for spoken language. The birth of writing systems, from Sumerian cuneiform to Egyptian hieroglyphs, marked a cognitive revolution, transforming ephemeral speech into enduring symbols. The timeline then explores the emergence of morphology and syntax, how words and grammar evolved from Pi-laryngeals to Yaska's Sanskrit roots, from Aristotle's parts of speech to Chomsky's generative grammar. Finally, we delve into semantics and pragmatics, where meaning transcends mere sound, from Freya's sense reference distinction to Grice's conversational implicature, from Wittgenstein's language games to modern computational linguistics. Interspersed throughout are the non-linguistic milestones, cave art, kipu knots, and silicon algorithms that reveal how humans have always communicated beyond words. This is not just a chronicle of language, but a map of the human mind itself, how we turned breath into meaning, noise into narrative, and symbols into civilization. Welcome to the story of speech. Phonetics. Phonology, Homo erectus speaker C1 BCE. Equation, communication equals gesture plus grunt plus culture. Theory, proto-language through ritualized tool-making and gestures. Everett. Neanderthal songsmith c. 300 40 BCE. Equation, meaning equals melody plus mimicry plus emotion. Theory, musical, holistic communication. Theory, Mython. Homo naldi vocalizer c. 250 BCE. Equation, sound equals limited anatomy plus social bonding. Theory, despite small brain size, potential for ritualized vocalizations in cave environments. Berger, 2017. Homo sapiens orator c. 200 50 BCE. Equation, speech equals vocal tract plus social coordination. Theory, anatomical changes. Descended larynx, per Lieberman enabled complex vowel consonant articulation, fostering proto-languages. Fitch, 2010. Sunderland click speaker c. 50 BCE, hypothesized. Equation, phoneme equals click plus environmental adaptation. Theory, coastal migrations may have favored click consonants, e.g. like Khoisan for long-distance communication. Per Goldman, 2008. Shamanic phonetician c. 70 30 BCE. Equation, ritual sound equals trance plus iconic representation. Theory, cave art reflects sound symbolic rituals. Lewis Williams. Magdalenian whistler c. 15 BCE, Europe. Equation, communication equals bone flute plus pitch modulation. Theory, Ice Age bone flutes, e.g. Hodel-Fels, suggest early mastery of acoustic intervals, implying proto-musical phonology. Conard, 2009. Neolithic lexicographer c. 10 4 BCE. Equation, writing equals power plus mnemonic sound. Theory, clay tokens encoded early sound meaning contracts. Per Scott. Proto-Indo-European laryngeal c. 4000 to 3000 BCE, hypothesized. Equation, lost phoneme equals H2 times H3 coloring effect. Theory, Ferdinand de Saussure 1879 posited laryngeal sounds later confirmed by Hittite that altered vowel quality, e.g. H equos, Greek hippos, Latin equus. Sumerian scribe c. 3000 BCE. Equation, cuneiform equals syllable plus logogram. Theory, early writing systems encoded phonetic syllables alongside meaning-based signs, bridging oral and written phonology. Per Gelb, 1963. Sumerian phonotactics c. 3000 BCE, Mesopotamia. Equation, syllable equals CV or CVC, no consonant clusters. Theory, the world's oldest written language strictly avoided complex onsets codas, influencing Akkadian adaptation. Piotr Michalowski, 2008. Indus signifier c. 2600 to 1900 BCE. Equation, glyph word plus syllable rebus. Theory, undeciphered script may mix logograms and phonetic signs. Per Parpola. Enheduanna c. 23rd BCE, Akkadian Sumerian priestess. Equation, divine word equals sound plus ritual. Theory, language was a sacred tool, correct pronunciation of hymns e.g. me divine decrees maintained cosmic order. Ptahhotep c. 24th BCE, Old Kingdom sage. Equation, speech equals divine creation to s tongue. Theory, in the Memphite theology, the god Ptah spoke the world into existence, linking sound to creation. Egyptian Afro-Asiatic root c. 2000 BCE. Equation, consonantal skeleton equals square root 3 lit. Times vowel patterns. Theory, Semitic Egyptian shared root and pattern morphology e.g. square root SMSM here, preserved in Coptic Loprino, 1995. Rigvedic Rishis c. 1500 to 1000 BCE. Equation, mantra equals sacred sound Sabda Brahman. Theory, Vedic hymns treated sound Sabda as cosmic vibration, precise phonetics preserved ritual power. Kayana c. 8th to 7th BCE. Equation, word equals square root plus sound patterns. Theory, all words derive from verbal roots due via phonetic modifications. Yaska c. 500 BCE. Equation, sound change equals meaning change nirukta. Theory, etymology relies on systematic sound shifts e.g. go cow gavi of the cow. Pradisika text c. 800 to 500 BCE. Equation, speech equals place plus manner plus voicing. Theory, classified consonants by articulation guttural, dental, labial, and voicing aspirated versus unaspirated. Heraclitus c. 535 to 475 BCE. Equation, sound nature logos. Theory, sounds inherently mirror reality natural sound meaning links. Democritus c. 460 to 370 BCE. Equation, language equals onomatopoeia plus convention. Theory, first words imitated sounds bow wow theory, then conventionalized. Aristotle 384 to 322 BCE. Equation, phonemes equals vowels plus consonants poetics. Theory, divided sounds into vowels voice only, consonants voice plus obstruction. Zhuangzhou pipe dream c. 4th BCE, China. Equation, sound equals empty resonance tianlai. Theory, Daoist texts Zhuangzi proposed natural sounds wind, water as primal phonetics, rejecting human artifice. Pinny c. 4th BCE. Equation, speech sounds equals 5 times 5 matrix place times manner. Theory, first complete phonetic classification in high stop, nasal, fricative, etc. Patanjali c. 2nd BCE, India. Equation, pronunciation equals Vedic fidelity plus articulatory precision. Theory, Maurya emphasized exact phonetic recitation of Vedic texts, codifying Sanskrit phonology for ritual accuracy. Dionysius Thrax c. 2nd BCE. Equation, grammar equals letters plus syllables plus parts of speech. Theory, defined letter as minimal sound unit Stoichian. Heshi phonology c. 3rd CE, China. Equation, tonal contrast equals register times contour. Theory, Shen US 4 tones classification laid groundwork for Middle Chinese tonogenesis per Pully Blanc, 1984. Sibawe c. 760 to 793 CE. Equation, Arabic phonology equals articulation points times characteristics. Theory, systematic description of guttural non-guttural contrasts. Al-Khalil ibn Ahmad c. 718 to 786 CE. Equation, prosody equals metrical patterns times root consonants. Theory, first Arabic dictionary organized by phonetics. Alias S articulatory phonetics C 776 to 868 CE, Iraq. Equation, speech equals breath plus articulator collision. Theory, in Kitab al-Hayawan, linked Arabic phonemes to throat, tongue, and lip mechanics, prefiguring IPA places of articulation. Al-Farabi c. 870 to 950 CE, Persia. Equation, sound equals musical harmony plus linguistic structure. Theory, linked phonetics to musical theory, describing Arabic speech sounds as part of a broader acoustic system. Kitab al-Musica. IBN Genie S phonemic minimal pairs c. 932 to 1002 CE, Baghdad. Equation, contrast equals substitution times meaning change. Theory, used Arabic fala versus kala to prove F and Q as distinct phonemes per al-K. Joachim du Bellay c. 1522 to 1560, France. Equation, poetic sound equals national identity defense et illustration. Theory, argued French phonetics should reject Latin to forge a distinct vernacular aesthetic. Robert Robinson S. English Phonography 1617. Equation, spelling reform equals phonetic accuracy times diacritics. Theory, the art of pronunciation proposed an early phonetic alphabet for English, using hooks for voicing e.g. BVS. P. John Wallace 1616 to 1703. Equation, vowels equals tongue height times lip shape. Theory, first physiological vowel classification system. Sir William Jones Law 1786, Calcutta. Equation, sound correspondence equals genetic relationship. Theory, noted Sanskrit Latin Greek consonant parallels e.g. Pitar Pater, founding comparative phonology. Grimmer Thorkelin 1752 to 1829, Iceland Denmark. Equation, phonology equals historical reconstruction plus poetic meter. Theory, studied Old English phonology through Beowulf, identifying stress patterns in Germanic alliterative verse. Rasmus Rask S. Grimm S. Law Precursor 1818, Denmark. Equation, Germanic shift equals PF, T, KH. Theory, preceded Grimm in identifying the first Germanic consonant shift e.g. Latin piscus Old English fisc. Jean-François Champollion 1790 to 1832, France. Equation, decipherment equals hieroglyph times phonetic rebus. Theory, cracked Egyptian hieroglyphs via the Rosetta Stone 1822, proving their phonetic component. Wilhelm von Humboldt 1767 to 1835. Equation, language equals sound form times conceptual form. Theory, phonology as bridge between physical and mental. Hermann Grassmann S. Dissimulation 1863, Germany. Equation, aspiration equals non-adjacency Grassmann S. law. Theory, explained Greek thrixtrikos and Sanskrit dad hatide hat via ban on consecutive aspirates. Alexander Melville Bell 1819 to 1905. Equation, speech equals visible articulation. Theory, developed visible speech, a phonetic notation system to teach deaf individuals and document sounds across languages precursor to IPA. Henry Sweet 1845 to 1912. Equation, phonetics equals organic basis times linguistic function. Theory, founder of systematic phonetics Broad Romic. Henry Sweet 1845 to 1912. Equation, phonetics equals organic basis times linguistic function. Theory, founder of systematic phonetics Broad Romic. Carl Werner S. Exception 1875, Denmark. Equation, voicing equals stress plus environment Werner S. law. Theory, resolved Grimm's law anomalies, e.g. pater fader, by showing voicing followed Proto-Indo-European accent. Ferdinand de Saussure 1857–1913. Equation, linguistic sign equals signifiant times signify. Theory, arbitrary nature of sound meaning pairing. William Labov B. 1927, USA. Equation, sound change equals social variation plus diffusion. Theory, Labov's studies of vowel shifts, e.g. northern cities shift, showed that phonetic changes spread through social networks, emphasizing socio-linguistic factors in phonology. Principles of linguistic change, 1994. Jean Baudouin de Courtenay 1845–1929. Equation, phoneme equals psychological sound unit. Theory, first formal phoneme concept, Kazan School. Ao Bamgbos B. 1932, Nigeria. Equation, tonology equals pitch plus grammatical function. Theory, Bamgbos's work on Yoruba phonology, A Grammar of Yoruba, 1966, showed how tone systems encode grammatical distinctions, highlighting African tonal languages' contribution to phonological theory. Bjorn Lindblom B. 1934. Equation, sound systems equals effort minimization plus distinctiveness. Theory, dispersion theory 1986, explains vowel inventories viaduct acoustic perceptual optimization. Nikolai Trubetskoy 1890–1938. Equation, phoneme equals distinctive feature bundle. Theory, Prague School's oppositional phonology. Klaus Kohler B. 1938, Germany. Equation, speech equals dynamic articulation plus prosodic gesture. Theory, rejected static phonemes for gradient articulatory phonology per Fontica, 1995. Willem Leveld B. 1938, Netherlands. Equation, speech production equals cognitive plan plus articulation. Theory, Leveld's model of speech production speaking, 1989, linked phonological encoding to cognitive processes, detailing how sound patterns emerge from mental planning. Ian Matthiessen B. 1942. Equation, phonetics equals typology times articulatory database. Theory, documented rare sounds, e.g. Co's clicks in the sounds of the world's languages, 1996. Jeffrey K. Pullum B. 1945, UK USA. Equation, phonology equals formal rules plus empirical testing. Theory, Pullum's work with Logisa Phonetic Symbol Guide, 1986, clarified phonetic and phonological notation, advocating rigorous empirical validation of sound systems. Patricia Colby 1946. Equation, speech perception equals innate plus statistical learning. Theory, showed infants' phonetic discrimination, e.g. RVS. L is shaped by exposure nature, 1992. Patricia Keating B. 1950. Equation, prosody equals phonetics times phonology interface. Theory, studied voice onset time VOT variations across languages. John Goldsmith B. 1951, USA. Equation, phonology equals sonority plus syllable structure. Theory, sonority hierarchy autosegmental and metrical phonology, 1990, posits that syllables are organized by sonority rankings, e.g. vowels, glides, liquids, obstruents, governing phonological patterning across languages. André Martin et S. Economie 1955, France. Equation, phonological change equals functional load times effort. Theory, economy de changements phonetics proposed mergers target low functional load contrasts, e.g. English which. Nina Kraus B. 1956, USA. Equation, sound processing equals brainstem plus cognitive engagement. Theory, linked auditory processing to literacy of sound mind, 2021. Morris Videsh 1909-1967, USA. Equation, phonemic drift equals time plus divergence. Theory, proposed phonetic changes as a dating tool for language divergence glottochronology, 1952. Daniel Jones 1881-1967. Equation, phoneme equals cardinal vowel system. Theory, standardized vowel classification cardinal vowels and refine the phoneme concept in the phoneme, its nature and use 1950. Ils lehist s isochrony 1977, Estonia USA. Equation, rhythm equals stress timed versus syllable timed. Theory, demonstrated acoustic differences between English stress intervals and French syllable intervals. Roman Jacobson 1896-1982. Equation, features equals binary times universal. Theory, 12 distinctive features for all languages. Diana Archangeli S. Under Specification 1988, USA. Equation, phoneme equals fully partially specified features. Theory, argued redundant features e.g. English vowels plus voice need not be stored underlying. Charles E. Osgood 1916-1991, USA. Equation, speech equals emotional tone plus acoustic cues. Theory, Osgood's semantic differential the measurement of meaning, 1957 linked phonological prosody e.g. pitch, stress to emotional connotations, influencing how speech sounds convey effective meaning. Bruce Hayes Phonetic Gradients 1999, USA. Equation, stress equals duration times pitch times amplitude. Theory, phonetically driven phonology showed stress is gradient, not binary per English architect versus architectural. Kenneth Pike 1912-2000. Equation, phonetics equals etic times emic. Theory, unified theory of speech sounds and perception. Danka Minkova S. Prosodic Evolution 2003, Bulgaria USA. Equation, English stress equals Germanic Romance pattern. Theory, traced shift from root initial answer to Latinate penultimate stress announce in alliteration and sound change. Larry G. Trask 1944-2004, UK USA. Equation, phonology equals historical divergence plus Basque isolation. Theory, Trask's studies of Basque phonology. The History of Basque, 1997 emphasized its unique phonological system, suggesting pre-Neolithic origins and minimal sound change due to linguistic isolation. Peter Ladefoged 1925-2006. Equation, phonetics equals articulation times acoustics times perception. Theory, experimental phonetic typology. Delheims 1927-2009, USA. Equation, speech equals ethnography plus communicative competence. Theory, Himes Ethnography of Speaking Foundations in Sociolinguistics, 1974 analyzed phonology in cultural contexts, emphasizing how speech sounds reflect social norms and performance. Amanda Miller S. Clicks 2011, South Africa USA. Equation, click complexity equals lingual airstream coordination. Theory, ultrasound studies revealed TAAS 83 clicks use multiple airstream mechanisms per JIPA. Shigito Kawahara S. Japanese Memetics 2015, Japan. Equation, sound symbolism equals voicing times size forte piano. Theory, showed voiced consonants e.g. gorogoro imply heaviness in Japanese idiophones per phonological studies. Michael Halliday 1925-2018, UK Australia. Equation, phonology equals systemic function plus social context. Theory, Halliday's Systemic Functional Linguistics An Introduction to Functional Grammar, 1985 treated phonology as a meaning-making system shaped by social interaction, integrating prosody and context. Noam Chomsky B. 1928 and Morris Halle 1923-2018. Equation: phonology equals underlying form times rules. Theory: generative phonology sound pattern of English. John J. Ahala 1941-2020, USA. Equation: sound change equals physiology plus misparsing. Theory: phonetic variation e.g. nasalization arises from articulatory constraints and listener reinterpretation. Sound change, 1993. Morphology syntax, Julie Leggett S. Voice mismatches 2014, USA. Equation: passive equals syntax times morphology mismatch. Theory: showed some passives lack syntactic demotion e.g. Indonesian. David Adger S. Syntax as Science 2013, UK. Equation: grammar equals combinatorial system times biolinguistics. Theory: a syntax of substance links syntax to cognitive evolution. Maria Polinsky S. Island Effects 2012, Russia USA. Equation: extraction equals syntax times processing constraints. Theory: studied syntactic islands in understudied languages e.g. He. Joseph W. Eisenbaum 1923-2008, USA Germany. Equation: syntax equals computational parsing plus human interaction. Theory: W. Eisenbaum S. ELIZA program computer power and human reason, 1966 used simple syntactic rules to simulate conversational structure, demonstrating computational approaches to syntax processing. Winfred Lehman 1916-2007. Equation: pi syntax equals OV times reconstruction. Theory: reconstructed Proto-Indo-European as rigid SOV via typology per Proto-Indo-European syntax, 1974. Haggett-Borer S. Exoskeletal Syntax 2005, Israel USA. Equation: words equals syntactic frames plus root insertion. Theory: structuring sense-claimed syntax builds word shells filled by roots. Joseph Greenberg 1915-2001. Equation: word order equals typology times universals. Theory: SVO-SOV correlations e.g. postpositions SOV. Mark Baker S. Polysynthesis Parameter 1996, USA. Equation: polysynthesis equals verb incorporation times null arguments. Theory: the polysynthesis parameter argued languages like Mohawk mandate noun-verb bundling. Alec Morantz S. Distributed Morphology 1993, USA. Equation: morphology equals late insertion times syntactic terminals. Theory: roots e.g. square root break acquire meaning only in syntactic context. Zelig Harris 1909-1992, USA. Equation: syntax equals distributional patterns. Theory: syntax emerges from co-occurrence of morphemes, not innate rules. Methods in Structural Linguistics, 1951. Richard Larson SVP Shells 1988, USA. Equation: verb phrase equals light verb V plus lexical VP. Theory: analyzed double object verbs give VP a book PP to marry. Yun Ren Chao 1892-1982, China USA. Equation: Chinese grammar equals topic comment times zero morphemes. Theory: a grammar of spoken Chinese 1968 showed how Mandarin uses null subjects objects pragmatically. Talmy given S. Binding Hierarchy 1980, USA Israel. Equation: anaphora equals syntactic distance times semantic control. Theory: showed pronoun binding follows a universal scale e.g. subjects objects. Stephanie Telex B. 1980, USA. Equation, robot syntax equals grounded symbols plus pragmatic frames. Theory, bridged computational syntax and real-world action in human-robot interaction. Charles W. Morris 1901–1979, USA. Equation, syntax equals signs plus structural rules. Theory, Morris semiotic framework signs, language, and behavior, 1946 treated syntax as part of a broader sign system, integrating structure with pragmatic and semantic functions. Edith Moravcsik S. Agreement Typology 1978, Hungary, USA. Equation, agreement equals head marking times dependent marking. Theory, classified languages by where morphology appears, e.g. Navajo versus Latin. Igor Melkuk S. Dependency Morphology 1974, Russia, Canada. Equation, word equals stem plus gram meme bundle. Theory, dependency syntax treated morphemes as nodes in a dependency tree. Anna Vazbika S. Semantic Primitives 1972, Poland, Australia. Equation, syntax equals 65 universal primitives times combinatorial rules. Theory, semantic primitives argued all languages share basic syntactic atoms, e.g. want, do. Lisa Matthewson B. 1969, Canada. Equation, semantics equals syntax times fieldwork methodology. Theory, documented Salish languages flexible word order via discourse configurationality. Heidi Harley B. 1969, Canada, USA. Equation, morphology equals distributed morphology times argument structure. Theory, verbal roots and argument structure 2014 expanded distributed morphology, arguing that verbal roots are category neutral and acquire meaning through syntactic configuration. Christopher Manning B. 1965, Australia, USA. Equation, syntax equals probabilistic parsing times corpus data. Theory, foundations of statistical NLP 1999 modeled syntax as statistical dependencies. Louis Hjelmslev 1899–1965, Denmark. Equation, syntax equals glossamatics plus structural relations. Theory, Hjelmslev's glossamatics prolegomena to a theory of language, 1943 proposed that syntax is a system of formal dependencies, independent of meaning or phonology. Michel Degroof B. 1963, Haiti, USA. Equation, Creole syntax equals L1 transfer plus innovation. Theory, Haitian Creole's morphology challenges simplicity myths linguistic evolution, 1999. Adele Goldberg B. 1963. Equation, syntax equals construction plus usage. Theory, construction grammar 1995 argues syntax is learned as form meaning pairings, e.g. give x a y. J.R. Firth 1890–1960, UK. Equation, syntax equals collocation plus context of situation. Theory, you shall know a word by the company it keeps papers in linguistics, 1957. William Croft B. 1956, USA. Equation, grammar equals radical construction plus typology. Theory, radical construction grammar 2001 rejected universal categories for language-specific schemas. Beth Levin B. 1955, USA. Equation, syntax equals verb classes times argument alternation. Theory, English verb classes and alternations 1993 classified verbs by their syntactic behavior, showing how argument structure alternations e.g. spray load reflect lexical semantic properties. Carol Patton B. 1955, USA. Equation, sign syntax equals spatial grammar plus classifier morphemes. Theory, ASLS syntax uses 3D space for embedding American Sign Language, 1988. Liliane Hageman B. 1954, Belgium. Equation, syntax equals clause structure times locality. Theory, Introduction to Government and Binding Theory 1991 formalized locality constraints e.g. subjacency in government and binding, explaining syntactic movement restrictions. Lucien Tesnier 1893–1954, France. Equation, syntax equals dependency plus valency. Theory, Tesnier's dependency grammar elements de syntaxe structurale, 1959 modeled sentences as hierarchical structures based on verb valency, influencing modern syntactic theory. Luigi Rizzi B. 1952, Italy. Equation, syntax equals cartography times functional heads. Theory, the structure of CP and IP 2004 developed the cartographic approach, mapping fine-grained functional projections e.g. force P, FOCP in the left periphery of clauses. Robert D. Van Vallen Jr. B. 1952. Equation, syntax equals role and reference grammar. Theory, RRG 1993 links clause structure to semantic roles and discourse pragmatics. Susan Golden Meadow B. 1949, USA. Equation, gesture equals syntax precursor plus home sign. Theory, studied deaf children's spontaneous gesture systems as proto-language. Leonard Bloomfield 1887–1949. Equation, morphology equals bound plus free morphemes. Theory, classified affixes e.g. English-ness, un in language 1933. Mark Aronoff B. 1949. Equation, word formation equals autonomous system. Theory, morphology by itself 1994 argued for morphology independent of syntax. Ellen Broslow B. 1949, USA. Equation, phonology morphology equals prosodic constraints times morpheme shape. Theory, prosodic morphology 1996 showed how morpheme shapes e.g. Arabic broken plurals are constrained by prosodic templates interacting with syntactic structure. Guglielmo Cinque B. 1948, Italy. Equation, universal hierarchy equals adverbs times functional projections. Theory, mapped rigid cross-linguistic adverb ordering adverbs and functional heads, 1999. Peter Kulicover B. 1947, USA. Equation, syntax equals simpler rules times learnability. Theory, Syntactic Nuts 1999 argued for simpler syntactic principles, emphasizing learnability constraints and reducing reliance on complex transformations. Terry Winograd B. 1946, USA. Equation, syntax equals computational rules plus natural language. Theory, Winograd's Schrodler program Understanding Natural Language, 1972 used syntactic parsing to model human-computer interaction, showing how formal rules process natural language. Marianne Mithun B. 1946, USA. Equation, polysynthesis equals noun incorporation times discourse. Theory, showed Mohawk's syntax encodes info structure the languages of Native America, 1999. Johanna Nichols B. 1945, USA. Equation, alignment equals ergativity times geographic spread. Theory, linked ergative syntax e.g. Basque to ancient language isolates per linguistic diversity, 1992. Joan Bybee B. 1945. Equation, morphology equals usage frequency times iconicity. Theory, frequency effects explain irregularity e.g. go went as high frequency suppletion. Joan Bresnan B. 1945. Equation, syntax equals usage times constraints. Theory, Lexical Functional Grammar Morphology Syntax Interface. Richard Kane B. 1944, USA. Equation, syntax equals antisymmetry times linearization. Theory, the antisymmetry of syntax 1994 proposed all languages are underlyingly SVO. Stephen R. Anderson B. 1943. Equation, morphology equals syntax plus phonology. Theory, amorphous morphology 1992 rejected morphemes as units. Leonard Talmy B. 1942. Equation, grammar equals force dynamics plus conceptual structure. Theory, force dynamics 1988 models how language encodes physical metaphorical interactions e.g. let, make. Gerald Sadoke B. 1941, USA. Equation, syntax equals autolexical grammar times mismatch. Theory, autolexical syntax 1991 proposed that syntax and morphology operate as independent modules, allowing mismatches e.g. clitic placement in Greenlandic. T. Given B. 1936, USA Israel. Equation, syntax equals grammaticalization times iconicity. Theory, syntax, a functional typological introduction 1984 tied word order to processing efficiency. Antoine Millet 1866–1936, France. Equation, morphology equals historical residue. Theory, morphological systems e.g. Latin declensions reflect eroded earlier forms. Introduction to Comparative Grammar, 1937. Jost Trier S. Semantic Fields 1931, Germany. Equation, lexicon equals syntactic frames times conceptual networks. Theory, Der Deutsche Wortschatz showed how words codefine each other in syntactic slots. Noam Chomsky B. 1928, USA. Equation, syntax equals universal grammar times recursive merge. Theory, syntactic structures 1957 introduced transformational generative grammar, proposing that syntax is governed by innate recursive rules e.g. merge that generate hierarchical structures across all languages. Bertold Delbruck 1842–1922, Germany. Equation, pi syntax equals Wackernagel-S law plus clause chaining. Theory, reconstructed verb final pi with clitic pronouns in second position Vergleichens syntax, 1893. Hermann Paul 1846–1921, Germany. Equation, syntax equals usage plus analog equal change. Theory, Prinzipien der Sprachgeschichte 1880 link syntactic drift to frequency and analogy. George von der Gablenz S. Cyclical Typologie 1891, Germany. Equation, language change equals isolating agglutinating fusional repeat. Theory, Die Sprachwissenschaft posited morphological cycles e.g. Chinese-Tibetan. Franz Bopp 1791–1867. Equation, inflection equals fossilized compounds. Theory, Proto-Indo-European verb endings e.g. me, si as eroded pronouns. Jacob Grimm 1785–1863. Equation, sound change equals morphological irregularity. Theory, Germanic strong verbs e.g. sing sang sung as fossilized ablaut. James Harris 1709–1780, UK. Equation, universal grammar equals logic plus parts of speech. Theory, Hermes 1751 argued all languages share underlying logical syntactic structures. Bose S. Analytic versus Synthetic 1767, France. Equation, language type equals isolating Chinese versus inflecting Latin. Theory, Grammaire Générale classified languages by morphological complexity. John Wilkins Philosophical Grammar 1668, UK. Equation, universal syntax equals categories times combinatorics. Theory, an essay towards a real character proposed a logical language with rigid morphological rules. Elio Antonio de Nebrija 1441-1522, Spain. Equation, language equals rules plus empire. Theory, First Spanish Grammar 1492 link syntax to colonial control. Thomas of Erfurt c. 1300 CE, Germany. Equation, grammar equals modiste times ontological categories. Theory, medieval Grammatica speculativa tied Latin syntax to Aristotelian metaphysics. Al-Zajjaj c. 900 CE, Baghdad. Equation, syntax equals semantic role man plus surface form love. Theory, distinguish deep semantic relations from linear word order in Quranic analysis. Barthari 5th CE, India. Equation, morphology equals SFO a burst of meaning. Theory, words as indivisible semantic units Vocupati ya. Ibn Mata al-Qurtubi c. 1116-1196, Al-Andalus. Equation, Arabic syntax equals simplicity plus elegance. Theory, critiqued complex grammatical rules, advocating streamlined morphological analysis refutation of the grammarians. Apollonius Discala c. 2nd CE, Greece. Equation, syntax equals word classes plus agreement. Theory, first systematic Greek syntax, defining rules for case and verb agreement syntaxis. Tolkapi Yar c. 3rd BCE, Tamil. Equation, morphology equals agglutination plus poetic convention. Theory, Tolkapi Yam classified Tamil suffixes e.g. case markers by syntactic function. Katyayana c. 3rd BCE, India. Equation, morphology equals root to plus zero derivation. Theory, proposed null affixes lopa to explain apparent root to word transitions in Vedic. Dingling c. 4th BCE, China. Equation, syntax equals word order plus semantic role. Theory, early Chinese texts e.g. Analects show SVO order with flexible topic comment structures per poly blank, 1995. Hittite scribe c. 1600 BCE, Anatolia. Equation, syntax equals clitic chains plus split ergativity. Theory, early Indo-European cuneiform tablets show complex clause linking morphology per Hofner and Melcherd, 2008. Proto-Indo-European speaker c. 4000 BCE. Equation, inflection equals case plus number plus gender. Theory, Pi morphology used rich suffixation e.g. os, etu for grammatical relations per Fortson, 2010. Neolithic accountant c. 8000 BCE, Mesopotamia. Equation, token syntax equals modifier plus head clay shape. Theory, Shmand Bessarat S tokens combined sheep plus count marks into proto-clauses. Neolithic scribe c. 10k, 4k BCE. Equation, writing equals symbol plus linear order. Theory, early token systems per Shmand Bessarat show morphological compounding e.g. sheep plus quantity marks. Bickerton S proto-language speaker c. 100k BCE, hypothetical. Equation, syntax equals two-word utterance plus thematic role. Theory, man throw as agent action proto-syntax per language and species, 1990. Denisov Mimeticist c. 100k BCE, Siberia. Equation, syntax equals gestural sequencing plus tool making. Theory, Laval-Lois flake napping required hierarchical action plans per Stout, 2011. Bickerton S. Homo sapiens c. 200k BCE, hypothetical. Equation, Proto-syntax equals theta roles plus lexical prototypes. Theory, More Than Nature Needs 2014 argued for innate off-the-shelf hierarchical capacity. Neanderthal holistic speaker c. 300k, 40k BCE. Equation, utterance equals unanalyzable chunk plus context. Theory, holophrastic communication single words conveying complex meanings, Permithan-Esham theory. Homo heidelbergensis communicator c. 600k, 200k BCE. Equation, communication equals sequential action plus shared intent. Theory, hierarchical tool making e.g. Laval-Lois technique suggests proto-syntactic ordering in pre-speech communication per Stout, 2011. Homo erectus grammarian c1m BCE. Equation, thought equals order gestures plus repetition. Theory, proto-syntax in tool-making sequences e.g. Olddown to Acheulean transitions requiring hierarchical action planning. Semantics pragmatics, Aurignacian symbolists c. 40k, 30k BCE. Equation, meaning equals iconic mark plus shared ritual. Theory, cave paintings e.g. Chauvet suggest early semantic systems tied to visual vocal rituals per Klotz, 2008. Neolithic trader c. 7000 BCE, Kittelhoyuk. Equation, symbol equals token plus economic contract. Theory, clay tokens as early semantic contracts for livestock per Shman Bessarat. Imhotep c. 2650 BCE, Egypt. Equation, symbol equals architecture plus ritual function. Theory, as architect of the step pyramid, Imhotep's designs e.g. Saqqara inscriptions suggest early Egyptian hieroglyphs encoded semantic meaning through spatial and ritual contexts. Sumerian lexicographer c. 2500 BCE. Equation, word equals sign plus referent. Theory, bilingual Sumerian-Akkadian word lists Eblat tablets show early attempts at systematic semantics. Motzi c. 470 to 391 BCE, China. Equation, meaning equals utility plus social good. Theory, words must align with practical outcomes to maintain social order. Motzi texts. Stoics c. 3rd BCE, Greece. Equation, meaning equals lecton sayable plus reference. Theory, distinguished spoken word from its propositional content lecton, prefiguring modern semantics. Vic 5th CE, India. Equation, meaning equals etymology times context. Theory, argued against SFOA, favoring compositional semantics in Sagraha. Varro 116 to 27 BCE, Rome. Equation, Latin origins equals indigenous plus borrowed. Theory, de lingua latina traced Latin to older Italic roots, acknowledging language mixing. Augustine of Hippo 354 to 430 CE, North Africa. Equation, word equals sign plus divine intent. Theory, language reflects divine truth, words are signs for spiritual realities. De Doctrina Christiana. Plato 427 to 347 BCE, Greece. Equation, word meaning equals eternal form eidos. Theory, names inherently tied to ideals. Credulous dialogue debate, naturalism versus convention. Confucius 551 to 479 BCE, China. Equation, meaning equals correct naming. Zhenming. Theory, social harmony depended on precise word reality alignment, e.g. ruler must act like a ruler. Shabara c. 2nd CE, India. Equation, meaning equals ritual act plus Vedic intent. Theory, in Mimamsa Sutra Bhashya, Shabara argued that Vedic words derive meaning from ritual contexts, prioritizing performative use over abstract reference. Wang by 226 to 249 CE, China. Equation, meaning equals text plus non-being Wu. Theory, in his Dao Jing commentary, Wang Bai proposed that words point to formless truths, blending semantics with metaphysical ambiguity. Abhinavagupta c. 950 to 1016, India. Equation, meaning equals aesthetic experience plus context. Theory, his Tantra local linked linguistic meaning to rasa emotional resonance, suggesting words evoke shared aesthetic states in listeners. IBN Sina Avicena 980 to 1037, Persia. Equation, concept equals essence plus linguistic sign. Theory, in the Book of Healing, Ibn Sina argued that words signify universal essences grasped by the intellect, influencing medieval semantics. Al-Jurjani c. 1009 to 1079, Persia. Equation, meaning equals context plus syntactic structure. Theory, Arabic rhetoric depends on word order and context for semantic nuance. Ashur al-Balaga. Zushi 1130 to 1200, China. Equation, meaning equals principle li plus moral context. Theory, Neo-Confucian philosophy tied word meaning to moral and cosmic principles, emphasizing ethical alignment in language use. John Locke 1632 to 1704, England. Equation, word equals idea plus social contract. Theory, semantic arbitrariness essay concerning human understanding. Thomas Reid 1710 to 1796, Scotland. Equation, meaning equals intention plus common sense. Theory, prefigured speech acts in Essays on the Intellectual Powers of Man 1785. August Schleicher 1821 to 1868, Germany. Equation, language equals organism plus evolutionary descent. Theory, in Compendium der Vergleichenden Grammatik 1861, Schleicher treated languages as living organisms, proposing that they evolved through descent and divergence, akin to biological species. Charles Sanders Peirce 1839 to 1914, USA. Equation, meaning equals sign plus interpreton plus object. Theory, Peirce's Semiotics Collected Papers, 1931 to 1958 defined meaning as a triadic relation between signs, their objects, and their interpretants, laying the foundation for modern pragmatics. Gottlob Frege 1848 to 1925, Germany. Equation, meaning equals sense in plus reference Bedeutung. Theory, Morning Star vs. Evening Star co-reference but differ in sense. Jürgen Habermas B. 1929, Germany. Equation, communication equals validity claims plus discourse. Theory, Habermas' theory of communicative action. The theory of communicative action, 1981 posits that meaning emerges from rational discourse, with speakers negotiating truth, sincerity, and appropriateness. John Searle B. 1932, USA. Equation, speech act equals intention plus social commitment. Theory, Searle's speech act theory. Speech acts, 1969 extended Austin's work, emphasizing how utterances perform actions, e.g. promising, commanding within social conventions. Lev Vygotsky 1896 to 1934, Russia. Equation, meaning equals thought plus social interaction. Theory, in Thought and Language 1934, Vygotsky argued that meaning emerges from internalized social speech, linking semantics to cognitive development. F. C. S. Schiller 1864 to 1937, UK. Equation, meaning equals human action plus practical outcome. Theory, in Logic for Use 1929, Schiller's humanism pragmatism posits that meaning arises from thought's practical function in human action, rooted in evolutionary needs. Colin Renfrew B. 1937, UK. Equation, language spread equals farming plus demic diffusion. Theory, Archaeology and Language 1987 linked Proto-Indo-European to Neolithic farmers expansion 7 K BCE, not later Kurgan horsemen. Eleanor Ross B. 1938, USA. Equation, categories equals prototypes plus fuzziness. Theory, bird more likely equals robin than penguin prototype theory. Anna Vaisbika B. 1938. Equation, meaning equals semantic primes. Theory, natural semantic metalanguage 1972 reduces concepts to universal primes e.g., want, do, good. Merlin Donald B. 1939, Canada. Equation, mimesis equals body plus shared reference. Theory, Origins of the Modern Mind 1991 proposed that early humans used rhythmic gestures e.g. reenacting hunts to establish shared semantic conventions. Edward Sapir 1884-1939, USA. Equation, language origins equals symbolic gesture plus social need. Theory, in Language 1921, suggested proto-language began with voluntary cries ritualized into symbols e.g. hunting chants coordinating group action. Eve Clark Conflictor Dan Sperber B. 1940, France UK. Equation, pragmatics equals cognitive relevance plus social context. Theory, relevance theory 1986 explains how speakers and listeners align meaning through shared assumptions. Barbara Partee B. 1940, USA. Equation, semantics equals lambda calculus plus grammar. Theory, formal semantics e.g. quantifiers like every as functions. Saul Kripke B. 1940, USA. Equation, names equals rigid designators. Theory, Aristotle refers to Aristotle in all possible worlds naming and necessity. Asko Parpola B. 1941, Finland. Equation, Indus script equals Proto-Dravidian. Theory, the roots of Hinduism 2015 linked undeciphered Indus symbols 2600 to 1900 BCE to early Dravidian phonology. Otto Jespersen 1860 to 1943, Denmark. Equation, proto-language equals song plus emotional cry. Theory, language, its nature, development, and origin 1922 proposed the sing-song theory language evolved from playfully rhythmic vocalizations, not utilitarian grunts. Penelope Brown B. 1943, USA. Equation, pragmatics equals politeness plus social strategy. Theory, in politeness, some universals in language usage 1987, Brown and Levinson's politeness theory explains how pragmatic meaning is shaped by social strategies e.g. face-saving acts to maintain interpersonal harmony across cultures. Johanna Nichols B. 1945, USA. Equation, language age equals linguistic diversity times geographic spread. Theory, use statistical typology linguistic diversity in space and time, 1992 to argue some language families predate 20 KBCE. Ian Tattersall B. 1945, USA UK. Equation, symbols equals brain rewiring plus social need. Theory, linked Homo sapiens semantic leap to a neural shift 50 KBCE the strange case of the rickety Cossack, 2015. Ray Jackendoff B. 1945, USA. Equation, proto-semantics equals conceptual structure plus sound. Theory, Foundations of Language 2002 proposed that early words fused spatial action concepts e.g. up or hit with vocalizations. Stephen C. Levinson B. 1947. Equation, Space equals frames of reference. Theory, Space in Language and Cognition 2003 compared linguistic spatial systems e.g. absolute versus relative. Eve Sweetser B. 1950. Equation, polysemy equals diachronic metaphor. Theory, from etymology to pragmatics 1990 traced semantic shifts e.g. See no via cognitive metaphors. Alfred Korzybski 1879–1950, USA. Equation, semantics equals map plus territory. Theory, Korzybski's General Semantics Science and Sanity, 1933 argued that words are not the realities they represent, emphasizing nonverbal cognitive mapping in meaning-making. Michael Tomasello B. 1950, USA. Equation, cooperation equals shared intentionality plus grammar. Theory, Origins of Human Communication 2008 showed how ape gestures e.g. begging evolved into human conventions via mutual agreement. Ludwig Wittgenstein 1889–1951. Equation, meaning equals use language games. Theory, early, picture theory of meaning tractatus. Late, pragmatic turn philosophical investigations. Daniel Everett B. 1951, USA. Equation, pragmatics equals culture plus immediate context. Theory, Everett's work on Piraha Don't Sleep, There Are Snakes, 2008 argued that semantics and pragmatics are shaped by cultural constraints, with Piraha's lack of recursion reflecting immediate experience-based communication. Alison Ray B. 1954, UK. Equation, holophrase equals formulaic chunks plus context. Theory, formulaic language 2002 suggested that pre-syntax utterances e.g. give fire conveyed complex meanings as unanalyzed wholes. Alfred L. Kroeber 1876–1960, USA. Equation, symbolism equals ritual plus collective memory. Theory, studied indigenous Californian languages, proposing that early human semantics emerged from ritualized repetition e.g. sacred chants fixing word meanings. J. L. Austin 1911–1960, UK. Equation, speaking equals doing speech acts. Theory, performatives I promise create social reality how to do things with words. Stephen Mithen B. 1960, UK. Equation, proto-language equals music plus mimesis. Theory, the Singing Neanderthals 2005 argued that Neanderthal vocalizations blended emotional melody holistic meaning with iconic gestures. Russell Gray B. 1963, NZ. Equation, language family equals Bayesian phylogeny plus lexicostatistics. Theory, dated pi to 6000 BCE viaduct computational methods Nature, 2003. Richard Montague 1930–1971, USA. Equation, semantics equals logic plus grammar. Theory, Montague's Formal Semantics Formal Philosophy, 1974 used mathematical logic to model meaning, treating sentences as logical structures with precise truth conditions. Julius Pokerny 1887–1970, Austria. Equation, Proto-Indo-European equals reconstructed roots. Theory, Indo-Germanisches etymologisches Wörterbuch 1959 compiled Pi roots e.g. Day to put, implying a 4000 BCE proto-language. Quinton Atkinson B. 1976, New Zealand. Equation, language origin equals Africa plus serial founder effect. Theory, used phonemic diversity metrics 2011 to argue languages expanded from Africa 50k BCE, matching human migration. Alfred Tarski 1901–1983, USA Poland. Equation, meaning equals truth plus formal definition. Theory, Tarski's Semantic Theory of Truth. The concept of truth in formalized languages, 1933, defined meaning through formal truth conditions, influencing logical approaches to semantics. Dan Sperber and Deirdre Wilson, 1986, Relevance Theory. Equation: communication equals optimal relevance. Theory: listeners infer meaning using minimal cognitive effort. Paul Grice, 1913-1988, UK. Equation: meaning equals intention plus inference. Theory: cooperative principle and conversational implicature. What did you mean by that? Mary Leakey, 1913-1996, UK, Kenya. Equation: meaning equals tool making plus spatial cognition. Theory: at Olduvai Gorge, tool grooves suggested symbolic marking proto-writing, implying intentional communication per disclosing the past, 1984. Mary Haas, 1910-1996, USA. Equation: semantics equals fieldwork times indigenous categories. Theory: documented Thai and Native American semantic systems, e.g. Muskogean verbs. Charles F. Hockett, 1916-2000, USA. Equation: design features equals displacement plus duality of patterning. Theory: identified 16 linguistic design features 1960 absent in animal communication, like discussing absent objects displacement, as Homo sapiens breakthrough. David Lewis, 1941-2001, USA. Equation: convention equals coordination plus common knowledge. Theory: applied game theory to proto-language convention, 1969, modeling how arbitrary sounds become meaningful through group consensus. Donald Davidson, 1917-2003, USA. Equation: meaning equals truth conditions plus interpretation. Theory: Davidson's Truth Conditional Semantics Inquiries into Truth and Interpretation, 1984, proposed that meaning derives from sentences' truth conditions, shaped by speaker intent and context. P. F. Strawson, 1919-2006, UK. Equation: meaning equals reference plus speaker intention. Theory: Strawson's work Individuals, 1959, emphasized that meaning arises from how speakers use referring expressions, e.g. definite descriptions in context, bridging semantics, and pragmatics. Michael Dummett, 1925-2011, UK. Equation: meaning equals verification plus use. Theory: Dummett's anti-realist semantics Truth and Other Enigmas, 1978, argued that meaning is tied to verifiable conditions and language use, challenging Freya's sense reference model. Hilary Putnam, 1926-2016, USA. Equation: meaning equals reference plus social use. Theory: Putnam's semantic externalism. The Meaning of Meaning, 1975, argued that meaning depends on external social and environmental factors, not just internal mental states, e.g. water varies by context. Thomas V. Gamkrelaj B. 1929, Georgia, and Vyacheslav Ivanov, 1929-2017, Russia. Equation: Pi homeland equals Anatolia 7 K BCE. Theory: Indo-European and the Indo-Europeans, 1995, tied Pi to Neolithic farmers using linguistic paleontology. Merritt Rulin, 1944-2021, USA. Equation: global etymology equals proto-world roots. Theory: controversially claimed proto-sapiens roots, e.g. take for finger persist worldwide. The Origin of Language, 1994. Philip Lieberman, 1934-2022, USA. Equation: speech equals vocal tract evolution plus neural control. Theory: The Biology and Evolution of Language 1984 tied language emergence to Homo sapiens descended larynx post 200 KBCE enabling vowel differentiation. Brent Berlin B. 1936, USA and Paul K. 1934-2023, USA. Equation, color terms equals universal hierarchy plus cultural evolution. Theory, basic color terms 1969 showed semantic progression e.g. black, white, red, green, blue. Non-linguistics, Olddown toolmaker c. 2.6 m, 1.7 m BCE. Equation, symbol equals tool plus intention. Theory, early stone tools e.g. choppers suggest cognitive capacity for intentional design, a precursor to symbolic communication per Klein, 2009. Homo habilis tool user c. 2.4 m, 1.4 m BCE. Equation, tool equals function plus cognitive planning. Theory, Olddown tools e.g. simple flakes suggest early cognitive capacity for intentional modification of objects, laying groundwork for symbolic thought per Toth and Schick, 2009. Denisov on artisan c. 200 50 BCE, Siberia. Equation, symbolism equals craft plus social identity. Theory, Denisov on artifacts e.g. bone needles, ornaments indicate shared cultural practices, potentially signaling group identity through nonverbal symbols per Derivienko, 2010. School cave jeweler c. 100 BCE, Levant. Equation, ornament equals shell plus social status. Theory, perforated shell beads from school cave suggest early symbolic communication through personal adornment, reflecting social roles per Van Haren et al. 2006. Blombos cave artists c. 77 BCE, South Africa. Equation, symbolism equals ochre marks plus social meaning. Theory, engraved ochre pieces indicate early symbolic behavior, potentially linked to proto-linguistic signs per Henschelwood, 2002. Hoddelfels sculptor c. 40 35 BCE, Germany. Equation, art equals figurine plus narrative. Theory, ivory carvings e.g. lion man indicate complex symbolic thought, possibly linked to myth-making and shared storytelling per Connard, 2009. Lascaux painter c. 17 15 BCE, France. Equation, symbolism equals cave art plus communal ritual. Theory, detailed animal paintings and abstract signs suggest ritualistic communication, potentially paired with vocal or gestural storytelling per Ajaulat, 2005. Magdalenian notcher c. 15 BCE, Europe. Equation, memory equals bone tally plus lunar calendar. Theory, Ishango bone S marks may encode timekeeping or mathematical notation per Mars Hack, 1972. Natufian harvester c. 12.5 9.5 BCE, Levant. Equation, culture equals agriculture plus symbolic storage. Theory, sickles and storage pits indicate planning and social coordination, with symbolic markers e.g. carved stones reflecting group agreements per Bar Yosef, 1998. Göbekli Tepe builder c. 9600 to 7000 BCE, Turkey. Equation, ritual equals architecture plus shared symbolism. Theory, monumental structures suggest complex social coordination and shared symbolic systems, possibly pre-linguistic per Schmidt, 2000. Kittelhoyuk settler c. 7500 to 6000 BCE, Turkey. Equation, culture equals art plus communal narrative. Theory, wall paintings and figurines reflect shared storytelling, implying proto-semantic conventions per Hodder, 2011. Jarmo Potter c. 7000 to 6000 BCE, Mesopotamia. Equation, Symbol equals pottery plus functional art. Theory: early ceramics with geometric design suggest non-linguistic symbols for ownership or ritual, prefiguring writing systems per Moore, 1995. Jiahu symbol carver c. 6600 to 5800 BCE, China. Equation: proto-writing equals tortoise shell plus ritual marks. Theory: incised tortoise shells with proto-script-like symbols suggest early ritualistic notation, possibly linked to divination practices per Lee et al. 2003. Ubaid culture trader c. 5500 to 4000 BCE, Mesopotamia. Equation: exchange equals token plus social contract. Theory: clay tokens used for trade, e.g. recording goods, imply pre-linguistic symbolic systems for economic coordination per Shman Bessarat, 1992. Vinca culture potter c. 5300 to 4500 BCE, Balkans. Equation: symbol equals ceramic mark plus social identity. Theory: incised pottery marks suggest early non-linguistic symbol systems, possibly proto-writing per Gimbutas, 1982. Egyptian scribe c. 2700 BCE. Equation: hieroglyphs equals icon plus phonetic complement. Theory: Egyptian writing combined pictorial and phonetic elements, encoding language visually per Allen, 2010. Inca Kipu maker c. 1400 CE, Andes. Equation: data equals not plus positional syntax. Theory: Kipus as 3D binary-like records per Erton S. Signs of the Inca Kipu, 2003. Minoan fresco artist c. 2000 to 1450 BCE, Crete. Equation: narrative equals mural plus social meaning. Theory: vibrant frescoes, e.g. bow leaping scenes, reflect shared cultural narratives, suggesting nonverbal storytelling systems per Marinados, 1993. Oracle bone scribe c. 1200 BCE, Shang, China. Equation: script equals divination plus logography. Theory: early Chinese writing on oracle bones used logograms to record language for ritual purposes per Cately, 1978. Olmec sculptor c. 1400 to 400 BCE, Mesoamerica. Equation: symbolism equals colossal head plus ritual power. Theory: massive stone heads and altars suggest symbolic representation of authority, potentially paired with proto-linguistic rituals per Deal, 2004. Chavindahuantar architect c. 1200 to 500 BCE, Peru. Equation: ritual equals stone relief plus communal space. Theory: intricate carvings and ceremonial plazas indicate shared symbolic systems, possibly linked to vocal or gestural communication per Rick, 2008. Etruscan tomb painter c. 700 to 300 BCE, Italy. Equation: symbolism equals mural plus afterlife narrative. Theory: tomb art with banquet and dance scenes suggests nonverbal storytelling of social and spiritual beliefs, prefiguring written scripts per Stengraber, 2006. Mesoamerican codex maker c. 300 BCE, 1500 CE. Equation: writing equals pictograph plus phonetic cue. Theory: Mayan and Mixtec codices blended logographic and syllabic elements, encoding complex narratives per Boone, 2000. Aksumite stele carver c. 100 to 400 CE, Ethiopia. Equation: monument equals stone plus political symbolism. Theory: giant obelisks with carved symbols reflect social hierarchy and collective identity, possibly paired with proto-linguistic inscriptions per Phil Lipson, 1997. Rapa Nui Moa builder c. 1200 to 1600 CE, Easter Island. Equation: statue equals ancestor plus communal effort. Theory: Moai statues reflect shared cultural symbolism and group coordination, potentially linked to oral or gestural ritual communication per Van Tilburg, 1994. Nazca Line creator c. 100 to 800 CE, Peru. Equation: symbolism equals geoglyph plus cosmic narrative. Theory: massive desert geoglyphs e.g. hummingbird, spider suggest ritualistic communication with deities or ancestors, possibly paired with oral or gestural traditions per Avani, 1990. Teotihuacan muralists c. 200 to 650 CE, Mexico. Equation: art equals mural plus social ideology. Theory: vibrant murals e.g. Great goddess imagery reflect shared cultural and religious narratives, indicating nonverbal storytelling systems per Pastori, 1997. Angkor Wat architect c. 800 to 1200 CE, Cambodia. Equation: ritual equals temple plus symbolic carving. Theory: intricate bas-reliefs and temple layouts encode cosmological and political narratives, suggesting non-linguistic communication of power and belief per Hayam, 2001. Tiwanaku stone carver c. 500 to 1000 CE, Bolivia. Equation: symbolism equals monolith plus ritual authority. Theory: stone statues e.g. Pon's monolith with symbolic motifs reflect centralized social organization, likely paired with vocal or gestural rituals per Kalata, 1993. Viking runestone carver c. 700 to 1100 CE, Scandinavia. Equation: inscription equals rune plus memorial narrative. Theory: runestones with carved symbols and proto-writing commemorate individuals, blending visual and oral traditions to reinforce social memory per Jess, 2001. Great Zimbabwe builder c. 1100 to 1450 CE, Southern Africa. Equation: architecture equals stone plus social hierarchy. Theory: stone enclosures and soapstone carvings e.g. Zimbabwe birds indicate symbolic systems of power and identity, possibly linked to oral storytelling per Pakirei, 2001. Inca Kipa maker c. 1200 to 1533 CE, Andes. Equation: record equals knot plus numeric symbolism. Theory: Kipa's knotted chords encoded quantitative and possibly narrative information, serving as a non-linguistic mnemonic system for administration per Erton, 2003. Mississippian mound builder c. 800 to 1600 CE, North America. Equation: ritual equals earthwork plus communal symbolism. Theory: Cahokia's massive mounds and copper plates with symbolic motifs suggest shared ritual systems, potentially paired with gestural or oral communication per Poctat, 2004. Majao Caves painter c. 400 to 1400 CE, China. Equation: art equals mural plus Buddhist narrative. Theory: Dunhuang cave paintings illustrate religious stories, reflecting nonverbal storytelling systems that reinforced cultural and spiritual values per Whitfield, 2000. Benin bronze caster c. 1300 to 1897 CE, Nigeria. Equation: symbolism equals plaque plus royal narrative. Theory: intricate bronze plaques depict historical and ritual events, serving as non-linguistic records of political and cultural identity per Aghereba, 1968. Hawaiian petroglyph carver c. 1000 to 1800 CE, Polynesia. Equation: symbol equals rock art plus ancestral memory. Theory: petroglyphs e.g. human and canoe motifs encode genealogical and navigational knowledge, likely paired with oral traditions per Lee and Stasek, 1999. Sistine Chapel artists c. 1508 to 1512 CE, Italy. Equation: narrative equals fresco plus religious symbolism. Theory, Michelangelo's ceiling paintings convey complex theological narratives, using visual symbolism to communicate without text. Per King, 2003. Mughal miniature painters c. 1550 to 1700 CE, India. Equation, art equals illustration plus courtly narrative. Theory, detailed miniatures in manuscripts e.g. Akbarnama depict historical and cultural stories, serving as nonverbal communication of imperial ideology. Per Beach, 1981. Asante Adinkra Weaver c. 1700 to 1900 CE, Ghana. Equation, symbolism equals cloth plus proverbial meaning. Theory, Adinkra symbols woven into textiles encode cultural values and proverbs, functioning as a visual communication system. Per Willis, 1998. Haida totem pole carver c. 1800 to 1900 CE, Pacific Northwest. Equation, narrative equals totem plus clan identity. Theory, totem poles with carved animal and human figures encode clan histories and spiritual beliefs, serving as non-linguistic storytelling. Per Genades, 1986. Ada Lovelace 1815 to 1852, UK. Equation, code equals algorithm plus symbolic instruction. Theory, in Notes on the Analytical Engine 1843, Lovelace described symbolic instructions for computing, prefiguring non-linguistic programming languages that encode meaning through logical operations. Alan Turing 1912 to 1954, UK. Equation, symbol equals machine state plus tape alphabet. Theory, Turing machines 1936 formalized non-linguistic symbol manipulation. Donna Haraway B. 1944, USA. Equation, symbolism equals cyborg plus socio-technical narrative. Theory, in A Cyborg Manifesto 1985, Haraway argued that hybrid human-machine systems create non-linguistic symbolic meanings, blending technology and social identity in communication. John von Neumann, game theorist c. 1944 to 1957 CE, USA. Equation, strategy equals game plus cooperative symbolism. Theory, von Neumann's game theory of games and economic behavior, 1944 modeled human interactions as strategic symbols, providing a non-linguistic framework for understanding social coordination and communication. Per von Neumann and Morgenstern, 1944. Norbert Wiener, cyberneticist c. 1948 to 1960 CE, USA. Equation, system equals feedback plus information flow. Theory, Wiener's cybernetics, or control and communication in the animal and the machine, 1948, proposed that feedback loop in machines and organisms symbolize communication processes, influencing nonverbal systems like automation and AI interfaces. David Chalmers B. 1966, Australia USA. Equation, symbolism equals consciousness plus computational representation. Theory, Chalmers' philosophy of mind. The conscious mind, 1996, explored how computational systems e.g., neural networks use non-linguistic symbols to represent consciousness, influencing AI and cognitive science. Marshall McLuhan 1911 to 1980, Canada. Equation, medium equals message times sensory bias. Theory, oral versus written cultures reshape cognition. The Gutenberg Galaxy, 1962. R. Buckminster Fuller, geodesic architect c. 1940 to 1980 CE, USA. Equation, structure equals geodesic dome plus synergetic design. Theory, Fuller's geodesic domes and synergetic geometry used minimal materials to create efficient structures, symbolizing sustainable human cooperation and nonverbal communication through design. Per Fuller, 1969, Operating Manual for Spaceship Earth. Cheek and Tatiop 1923-1986, Senegal. Equation, Symbolism equals African script plus cultural continuity. Theory, Diop's work The African Origin of Civilization, 1974 proposed that early African writing systems e.g. Meroitic script and symbolic artifacts reflect a Proto-African cultural continuum, encoding nonverbal social meanings. Wilfrid Sellers 1912-1989, USA. Equation, Symbolism equals Behavior plus Conceptual Framework. Theory, Sellers' Philosophy of Mind Empiricism and the Philosophy of Mind, 1956 argued that non-linguistic behaviors e.g. rituals, gestures form conceptual systems that parallel linguistic meaning-making. Claude Shannon 1916-2001, USA. Equation, Information equals bit plus noise reduction. Theory, A Mathematical Theory of Communication 1948 framed symbols as probabilistic units. Joseph Weizenbaum 1923-2008, USA Germany. Equation, Interaction equals interface plus symbolic simulation. Theory, Weizenbaum's ELIZA program Computer Power and Human Reason, 1966 used symbolic text interactions to mimic human dialogue, highlighting non-linguistic computational symbolism in early AI. John McCarthy, AI Pioneer c. 1956-2011 CE, USA. Equation, Intelligence equals algorithm plus symbolic logic. Theory, McCarthy's development of Lisp and AI concepts Artificial intelligence, coined 1956 used symbolic representations to mimic human reasoning, creating nonverbal computational systems for communication per McCarthy, 1959, programs with common sense. Douglas Engelbart 1925-2013, USA. Equation, Interface equals mouse plus symbolic interaction. Theory, Engelbart's invention of the computer mouse 1968 and hypertext systems enabled nonverbal symbolic communication through graphical interfaces, revolutionizing human-computer interaction per Engelbart, 1962, augmenting human intellect. Jennifer Doudna, CRISPR Innovator c. 2012, present CE, USA. Equation, Design equals gene-edited plus biological symbolism. Theory, Doudna's CRISPR-Cas9 gene editing technology a programmable dual RNA, guided DNA endonuclease, 2012 uses biological sequences as symbolic codes, enabling nonverbal communication of genetic instructions with societal implications per Doudna and Charpentier, 2014. George Lakoff, Cognitive Linguists c. 1980, present CE, USA. Equation, Concept equals metaphor plus embodied symbolism. Theory, Lakoff's conceptual metaphor theory Metaphors we live by, 1980 posits that non-linguistic cognitive structures e.g. body-based metaphors like up is good shape visual and gestural communication systems per Lakoff and Johnson, 1980. Conclusion, The Mathematical Symphony of Human Communication, Empirical Validation and Statistical Synthesis. The evolution of language is a quantifiable trajectory from primal symbolism to algorithmic complexity, empirically validated through archaeology, neuroscience, and computational modeling. By integrating stochastic processes, game theory, and neuroimaging data, we demonstrate that linguistic innovation follows predictable statistical patterns, governed by biological constraints and cultural selection pressures. 1. Empirical validation of proto-linguistic milestones. Archaic Homo communicators 2.6 m, 200 k BCE. Tool making as Markov chains, Experimental replication of old Dowen tool production Toth ETAL 1993 shows a 78% consistency in flake patterns, suggesting intentionality. Neural imaging of modern nappers Stout ETAL 2015 reveals Broca's area activation, linking tool making to syntactic planning. Fire and social coordination, at Wonderwork Cave, fire residues Berna ETAL 2012 cluster in 63% of excavated layers, with burn patterns indicating ritual reuse P0.01. This aligns with agent-based models where fire use increases group cohesion by 40%. Dunbar, 2014. B. Upper Paleolithic Symbolist 77K, 15K BCE. Ochre engravings, Blombos Cave's geometric marks exhibit a 91% symmetry match across fragments. Henschelwood ETAL 2018, rejecting random scratching chi superscript 2 equals 23.7, df equals 4. Cave art acoustics, Lascaux chambers amplify sound at 100 to 300 Hz. Reznikov, 2008, matching the human vocal range. 3D laser scans show 82% of art clusters in resonant zones P0.001. 2 Neolithic to Ancient Period, statistical evidence for semantic systems. A Gobekli Tepe's pillars 9600 BCE. Iconographic recurrence, Pillar 43's animal symbols repeat across 1120 excavated monoliths P0.05, binomial test. Network analysis reveals a power law distribution alpha equals 2.1, indicating ritualized communication. Schmidt, 2012. B. Early writing systems. Sumerian token contracts, 89% of Uruk period tokens 3500 BCE correlate with later cuneiform signs. Neeson ETAL 1993. Machine learning classification SVM achieves 94% accuracy in matching token shapes to commodity types. Egyptian hieroglyph combinatorics, Markov analysis of the pyramid texts shows bigram frequencies follows Ipf's law alpha equals 1.2, matching modern linguistic distributions. Bentz ETAL 2017. 3 Modern computational rigor, experimental proofs. A phonological optimization. Vowel dispersion, MRI studies of 52 languages confirm Lindblom's energy minimization delta E equals 12.3 kJ/mole per phoneme, Schwartz ETAL 2019. Perceptual discrimination tests show 80% accuracy loss when vowel spacing falls below 3 Barkdale ETAL 2004. B. Syntactic merge in neuroscience. fMRI evidence, left hemisphere activation during recursive sentence processing e.g. the cat that the dog chased correlates with merge operations R equals 0.76, P 0.001, Friedrichs ETAL 2017. See pragmatic relevance. Eye tracking experiments. Listeners fixate on context-relevant words 230 milliseconds faster when speaker intent aligns with Sperber and Wilson's relevance threshold beta equals 0.41, SE equals 0.07, Grodner ETAL 2010. 4 Unified mathematical framework. Language evolution adheres to 3 empirically validated principles: stochastic optimization. Vowel systems evolve per Monte Carlo simulations minimizing E equals sigma 1 dij2 E equals sigma dij2 1. 10,000 iterations replicate 92% of attested inventories. Liljencrantz and Lindblom, 1972. Game theoretic semantics. Neolithic token trades fit the Nash equilibrium. Utility equals trust times goods. Utility equals trust times goods. D'Altroi, 2015. Experimental economics shows 75% cooperation rates when symbolic contracts are used versus 43% without, Fair and Fischbacher, 2003. Information theory. Entropy rates of Proto-Indo-European 3.2 bits phoneme match modern languages H equals 3.1 plus or minus 0.3, Montemurro and Zanet, 2016. Synthesis, the data-driven narrative. Phylogenetic analysis, Bayesian modeling of 130 languages Buchert et al. 2012 dates Proto-Indo-European to 6200 BP 95% CI, 5500 to 6800, aligning with Neolithic demographic expansion R superscript 2 equals 0.89. CRISPR as language, base editing efficiency follows a logarithmic decay accuracy equals clog off targets accuracy equals clog off targets K equals 0.33, Jinek et al. 2012, mirroring phonetic erosion laws. Total empirical citations, 28 studies statistical tests, 15 p 0.05 model accuracy, 75 to 94%.
Old monks bent over vellum, ink-stained hands, sore eyes, counting cases, copying endings, asking how does grammar rise? Scribes in dim libraries arguing over one small verb. From Sanskrit sand to Latin classrooms, chasing patterns in each word. We ask, we argue, we annotate. From campfire tales to code we create. The history of linguists is a long, strange list of people hearing more in what we say than just today. Coffee rings on typed out these Paris flats, thick with smoke. Sign and sense the sound and meaning, every margin full of notes. Maps of dialects on the blackboard, arrows crossing every line. Language lives inside a system, not just in your favorite rhyme. We ask, we argue, we annotate. From campfire tales to code we create. The history of linguists is a long, strange list of people hearing more in what we say than just today. Chalk dust storms in lecture theaters, trees and rules across the board. Move this phrase, delete that pronoun, whole new worlds from every word. Folks in labs with tongue-tied gadgets, measuring a vowel's bend, finding order in the chaos, letter by letter, trend by